Welcome to our podcast, the best sports podcast on the net today. Listen to the Breakdown Everything Mets. From off-season news, Mets trade rumors, in-game reactions during the season. You can now listen to our show Monday, Friday at 8 p.m., while also listen on weekends at 8 p.m. To learn more, check out our website at www.MetsXMFanZone.com. Well, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and get back into the Mets groove all season long. Welcome to our podcast, the best sports podcast on the net today. Listen to the Breakdown Everything Mets. From off-season news, Mets trade rumors, in-game reactions during the season. You can now listen to our show Monday, Friday at 8 p.m., while also listen on weekends at 8 p.m. To learn more, check out our website at www.MetsXMFanZone.com. Well, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and get back into the Mets groove all season long. Welcome to our podcast, the best sports podcast on the net today. Listen to the Breakdown Everything Mets. From off-season news, Mets trade rumors, in-game reactions during the season. You can now listen to our show Monday, Friday at 8 p.m., while also listen on weekends at 8 p.m. To learn more, check out our website at www.MetsXMFanZone.com. While don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and get back into the Mets groove all season long.
We are going live in 5 minutes. MetsXMFanZone will be going live in 5 minutes. Please stay tuned to our show. We will be going live in 5 minutes.
Welcome to our podcast, the best sports podcast on the net today. Listen to the Breakdown Everything Mets. From off-season news, Mets trade rumors, in-game reactions during the season. You can now listen to our show Monday, Friday at 8 p.m., while also listen on weekends at 8 p.m. To learn more, check out our website at www.MetsXMFanZone.com. While don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and get back into the Mets groove all season long.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another MetsXMFanZone live podcast. We are the best sports podcast on the net today. By listening to the breakdown of all of our Mets live streams, news feeds, and much, much more. And also, not only can you not listen to our podcast, you can now watch and listen also on all major platforms by going to Amazon Music, Iheart Radio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We want to thank SB Sports Athletics for sponsoring here at our show today. One of the best merchandising on the net. Everything that you see behind me is 50% off on our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.com/shop. Everything you want to buy, you could buy on our website for half off, which is amazing because, you know, everything that SB Sports Athletics has done has been, their product is just off the charts amazing. I love it. And I think you guys are going to love it too. We also want to thank also Nike, and we also want to thank Sportsnet for also letting us do this. Because, I mean, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this today. So I really would like to thank you guys. We also got some news. We're going to be talking about Mets trade rumors. We got a lot there because we got two stories that have came to my desk early this morning, and I figured we go ahead and do our 8 o'clock show tonight to just talk about that. We didn't do a 12 o'clock showing today. We decided to just wait until the 8 o'clock show, just to, that way you guys could get all the news, you know, right up front. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm also gonna do a breakdown of the Mets lineup, and we're also gonna talk about staff. The coaching staff has been updated. Spring training is right around the corner. If you guys would like to check out and meet and greet with me, I'm going to be down at Port St. Lucie February 18th. I will be having a booth outside the stadium, so I'll be doing a whole live podcast, live showing at the stadium. So if you guys would like to come in and chat with me, you guys can do so by coming down to Port St. Lucie. I'm going to be there February 18th, right outside of the stadium. So, hey, come and have a chat with me. We talk Mets news. Also, we would like to thank Buck Showalters for having one of a phenomenal season that he has done. He was the coach of the year. I think, you know, first time being a Mets manager has nothing been great for him. I mean, he's gotten so much support around him, but in the offseason, the Mets had made some moves, and they also had made some player development moves also as well. But we're going to be talking about that. And we're going to talk a little on the Carrera. I'm not going to go into a whole big story on it, but I will be talking about it just a little bit. I think it was a story to be mentioned because he was technically supposed to be a Met. And why? I mean, I didn't know. To me personally, I didn't understand what really transpired here. I mean, you get a deal at $12 million, $315 million for 12 years. I mean, you're probably one of the best shortstops in the game by far. I mean, he is a good shortstop. I don't want to say the best. He's not 5. I'd say he's in the top 10. But, I mean, the Mets were going to give him the money. I just don't understand where they were really going with this, in my honest opinion. I mean, I don't want to say they kind of messed this up. I think the Mets kind of, did the right thing, I feel, in my opinion. But do we live and learn? I say so. I mean, it was just something that, the Scott Boras was playing around, and the Mets were like, listen, you know what, we're willing to give it to you. But I guess they weren't because of the history of his body. I kind of get it because, if you're a guy that's being injury prone throughout your career, I mean, how do you really look at this? As a owner standpoint, do you pay the guy? Say, hey, you know what? You have history in being hurt. You have a plate and 9 screws in your knee. You are yes, granted, you are a decent player, but are you worth all that money? And that was kind of like the question that we seen here. Are you really worth that money? And I didn't think he was really worth that money going in. But I mean, they did a 6 years, $200 million. The Minnesota Twins re-signed him. But we understand and see why San Francisco didn't want to make that deal at all. So they were like, listen, you know what? Yeah, granted, we might have wanted you, but now we're looking at your medical. Now we're looking at your medical history. Okay, so there's a problem. There's a problem why you're not being signed. Was he taking synthetic drugs? Was he taking cortisone shots? And that kind of affects the physical also. And so I was seeing here in the reports that he was doing something. He was also doing something on top of it. I just think how this really turned ugly. It honestly turned ugly really quick. But I think the Mets did play this right. I think they played their cards the way they wanted it. And they just didn't sign him. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that the Mets didn't get him because I think in the long run he could have been a problem. Just because, we didn't want to go back to 2019, 2020 to where, everything was all a mess all over the place. And, I'm going to have to go and worry about this guy for 12 years. No, I'm not going to go and worry about this guy for 12 years. And I think that the Mets did play this right in their cards. And now there has been some rumors that the Mets are interested in Andrew McCutchen. He could be our 4th outfielder. I know we're talking with people on the ground and, talking with my sources and the guys that I've spoken with that the Mets are somewhat going to make a deal like this. But we're also hearing that the Mets could make get another guy, which could be Trey Turner. Trey Turner is now back in Mets discussions. Because of the Carlos Correa, the Mets are willing and looking to make another big splash move. Even though they didn't get Correa, I think, according to many guys out there that are saying that Trey Turner could definitely be a Mets center fielder. But which I don't understand is that why would you want to put Trey Turner as your center fielder where you already got Brendan Nimmo as your center fielder? Unless you're going to try to somewhat DH him. See, because I know I'm kind of reading here and they're like he is still a free agent, but the Mets are looking to make a move. They could make this move as a 11-year, $300 million. No, I wouldn't do. I honestly wouldn't do that, just because we knew what was going to happen with, well, we didn't really know what happened with Carrera, but, the Mets want to constantly keep making big splash moves. No, I wouldn't. Would Trey Turner be a really cool addition to the club? I think so. And even so, even if the Mets signed Trey Turner, which likely would have, could be moving Brandon Nimmo. Why would the Mets even do that unless you're going to put unless you go and put Brandon Nimmo at left field? You got to remember also something too. You still got Mark Kenna and you got Marte. Marte be your right fielder. Maybe Marquena being your backup. Could he actually be a backup? I don't know about that. I mean, he's got a good bat, but I think you need a power hitter. The Mets definitely need a power hitter in that middle of that lineup, because when you're looking at that lineup up and down, you got Brandon Nimmo, you got Sterling Marte, you got Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Mark Kenna, Daniel Vogelbach. Do you really want to put Vogelbach as a DH? Or would you rather put Trey Turner in the mix in there? I like Trey Turner. I think Trey Turner would make a really cool addition. I think he would be part as your number 2. Because I mean, he has a really good bat. We all know, we've seen him with Washington. Now I think he's with Philly. But I mean, the guy's me personally, I think he's a really good player. Even Escobar. Even when the Mets were going to go and not get rid of, but if this deal was going to go through with Carlos Carrera, Escobar would have been gone. Brett Beatty would have been gone. And then what do you end up with? Carlos Carrera and a gimpy leg. I mean, I think it was smart. It really was smart that the Mets didn't do this. I mean, would I have been happy if the Mets would have kept him? I would have. I honestly would have kept him. I think if we really wanted to go super power lineup, I would definitely want to went for Mike Trout. But you would have to trade a lot of guys to get Mike Trout. Also got to remember something, too. Going in 2023 season, right? You have a really good lineup. Marte. I like Marte. I think Marte is going to have a really good season. Could he bat 295? Could he bat 300? We know he could do that. I definitely think he can. And Pete Alonso had a really good 22 season, batting 271. Jeff McNeil batting 327. Mark Kenna batting 266. Now, I don't think Daniel Vogelbach. Okay, granted, we might think he's a god here in New York. Do I really want to say that he's a real god here in New York? That cult hero? We see that he's a guy that's, first of all, out of shape, number one. I'm not even gonna go into that because I don't feel it's relevant here in this case. I like Daniel Vogelbach. I think he hits for power. But the problem is that he looked very out of shape and he wasn't hitting very well. Granted, this might be a, what do you call it, sort of world that we need to constantly keep catering guys. But you know, I look at it this way. Can we say that Daniel Vogelbach could be your future? And he's only there for one more year. As much as I like the guy, I think the Mets will definitely move on from him. But who I'm really interested in, there is a guy I'm really interested in seeing this year is Francisco Alvarez. And he even said yesterday Well, not yesterday, day before yesterday, he turned around and said, I'm willing to learn English. I'm quoting him, quote unquote. I'm willing to learn English. I'm willing to play here in New York. And I'm willing to be a Met. And if you can see the culture here in New York and the way New York is a very tough town. We know that. We saw it in the offseason. Spring training is coming around the corner. And what can we say with Francisco Alvarez? We want to see what he could do. I want to see what Verlander could do this year, now coming with the New York Mets. Having that 3 years, $86 million. You better be worth that $86 million. As much he is a good player, he better be worth it. That's why when I see guys like I see Daniel Vogelbach, Mark Kenna, Eduardo Escobar, does it actually do I think about it a little bit more? I think about it a little bit. Can these guys actually pull through for the Mets in 2023? I think so. Can we see a guy like Mark Kenna pull it through? Now that we don't have Carlos Carrera, who could be that hot commodity? Who could be that guy coming out of the gate in free agency like Andrew Mccutchen? Could be your outfielder in depth. I think going into 23, it's going to be a really good season. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a team that I know that is willing to win you 110 games in 23. And I love the new additions. Verlander, the Japanese pitcher, Cody Sagad, and guys that are having peak seasons like Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso had a good season last year. And we constantly keep never mentioning his name in Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball doesn't recognize him. And he needs to be more recognized. He's recognized in New York, but he's not recognized in Major League Baseball, and they don't give him enough coverage. And I love Francisco Lindor. What can we say about Francisco Lindor? Lindor, a good, solid player. Now the thing is what do the Mets have in store here? What are the Mets planning on doing? What's the next step? Go and get Andrew McCutchen, or are they going to go out and actually get Trey Turner? And instead, I would. Because Trey Turner had, in 2022, as an outfielder, he batted 4 for 9, 21 home runs, 100 RBIs, and had an OPS on base percentage of 800. And 101 runs scored. Andrew McCutchen had nowhere near that. Andrew McCutchen had 18 home runs. He had granted, he had good, decent numbers of home runs. He had 18 home runs, 68 RBIs. He had 8 steals. Had OPS of 480. Okay. Not so bad. Now, what can we see with Brett Beatty? What can we see with Francisco Alvarez? What can we see in store for Eduardo Escobar? And that's the thing. I would like to see Brett Beatty go. I can see him do 15 home runs. Maybe in his first year, 68 RBIs, maybe OPS of 490, 460. But I'm actually really looking forward to Alvarez. I love everything I love about this guy. This guy has hit for power. He's got a really good swing. Same thing with Brady. Same thing with Beatty. Beatty has also a really good swing too. And I can't give up on Escobar. I don't understand why people are giving up on that guy. I really like him. Why are we giving him up? Even if the Mets were going to go and sign Carlos Correa. If, same for argument's sake, that deal actually was going to go through, then what? Could have been a Brett Beatty and Escobar going, because you never know. Deals that never go through are always the deals that actually make it work. And I'll tell you, by far, who's going to be a really good addition to this club, and who I'm really going to pull it out. And I'm going to pull it out from hitting, and I'm going to pull it out for pitching, hitting and pitching, and maybe in the back end of the rotation. Number one's going to be Adam Ottavino in the back end of that rotation. You're going to see him turn it up so good in 2023. He's got a lot to prove. Signing and coming back here with the New York Mets for another year, $18 million. He had a really good 2022 season, and I liked what he did. Of course, you got Dave Peterson, and we don't even know what he's gonna. We don't know what he's honestly gonna do too. So moving, coming here. I mean, do you put him in the bullpen? Do you start him? I mean, there's a lot of questions up in the air, and I look at it this way. I would like to see, as much as I love Tyler McGill, I would like to see. Well, you're probably going to see Dave Peterson maybe in the rotation somewhere. You're going to see Tyler McGill being flopped all over. And it's more than likely when you don't see when you don't see Justin Verlander or maybe Max Scherzer come out in the 5th or 6th. More than likely going to see maybe Tyler McGill go in the 7th. Or give a day, or when you give a guy a rest, like maybe Max Scherzer or Justin Verlander, you put in Tyler McGill in there. Because I believe Dave Peterson is probably going to go in the bottom of the end of the rotation because you got Max Scherzer, which he's probably not going to be. He's not going to probably be your ace. It's more than likely going to be Justin Verlander, just because of the history that you see with Verlander. He also won the World Series for the Astros. So what do you see? What do you see out of that coming right into New York? I think this guy's going to be magical. I think he's going to have a really good season. I think he's going to have a better season coming with the Mets than he was with the Astros. Because I'm willing to be optimistic here. I'm willing to go and say that he's going to go 15-8. Or maybe 15-4. Be optimistic. Right? Go maybe 220. And I think he had an ERA of like 190, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe my producer will tell me in the year. But, I mean, what numbers he actually had. But I think going into the 22 season, going into the 23 season, he's got a lot to prove. He's gonna show it at spring training, and you're gonna see also too out of Max Scherzer. You're gonna see these two guys collaborate so well. Going in the Mets franchise, bad blood is definitely going to be despaired. Because them two had some blood. They were competing. They were going at it every night when they were with the Astros. And I believe Max Scherzer was with the Astros at one time, for whatever team it was. Can't remember. But being competitive, I love competitiveness. You know what I think of this? New York is so competitive. We love to see underdogs fight. We know that those are the two best pitchers in the game. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, and Jacob deGrom. 3 guys. Jacob deGrom is no longer a Met. He's with the Texas Rangers. And I think in many ways that I was a little bit, not sad to see him go, but bitter. I'm a little bitter at him because just the way he went, just the unclassiness of him going the way he did. What do you call? You want to write a letter to Met fans 2 weeks because you were getting so much heat? How much of a coward can you possibly be? Ego? Well, we all know that's what it was. It was definitely ego. Oh, well, I don't like the players? What kind of nonsense, childish shit was that? And it was just so funny that he decides to put it on public display and go out there and say, oh, well, you Met fans have been very supportive. Yeah, we supported your ass when you didn't play. And we still supported you. And we were still optimistic of keeping you here. We were like, okay, let's keep Jacob deGrom. Let's have him here. We know he's good. We love you. And we'll accept you back when you get ready and healthy. Meanwhile, this guy was constantly hurt each and every season. You were gone for 2 full seasons, not playing, because you were fatigued. What the hell is that? And that's kind of, where Met fans kind of started getting the wrong way with Jacob deGrom. But I would definitely say, by far, I'm okay with the way the Mets are doing it now. And now that you got an owner he's like a Steinbrenner. And we all know this guy wants to spend money. He wants to win. And now the Mets and Yanks, right, cross town, are giving each other breaks here. They really are. Eric Chavez. We all know who Eric Chavez is. He was a great hitter in his own right. Danny Barnes, which I love that move. Dom Cheeky. Your bullpen coach. I love Don. Worked with Don. I worked with Don. Who else we got? Joey Cora. I think that was also a really good move, too. And he's your infielder, third baseman guy. Jeremy Hefner. Oh, I love Jerry. He's a good friend. Great pitching coach. Eric Hines, your assistant hitting coach. And we just ended up getting Eric Hines in the offseason. And I believe we got Jeremy Barnes also too. We got Jeremy Barnes, but he flip-flopped. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a bench. He was an assistant hitting coach, and they were flopped. Jeremy and Eric, and put Eric Hines there as assistant hitting coach. So I think this was a good. Personally, this was good because you had Glenn Sherlock, which we all know Glenn is a great strategy guy, and that was also a good move. Wayne Kirby, outfielder, first baseman, big guy, loved him. Another nice man. So I think with the returning of the 23 season will be Danny, which is going to be obviously Danny Barnes, Jeremy Barnes, Eric Chavez, Joey Cora, Jeremy Hefner, Wayne Kirby, Glenn Sherlock, which Glenn Sherlock has been with the Mets forever, I feel, in my opinion. I always know who he is. And then John Cheehy joins the organization as the team's bench coach. and Eric Hines will serve as the club's assistant hitting coach. And Chihi is only 64 years old. You know, he's still young. So I like that versatility that the Mets did there. And Eric Hines, he's a young guy too. So they're not really going super old, but not going super young. They're going more experience-based. And, you know, Buck Showalter also knows these guys, and they've been in the system for quite a while. So with, you know, Buck being your manager, he had a great season. Was there, you know, certain things that I found that Buck kind of, you know, did, and I think he could have kept guys in a little later, and kept guys in a little longer. But again, being optimistic with this team, that's something you just want to be positive. Tired of Met fans coming on and saying that this team is not good enough. Where is the pride here? Ben, be pride about your team. Okay, so I will really would like to hear what you guys have to say. Let's hear what you guys think about this. Are you guys optimistic? Do you guys would like to see Andrew McCutchen being your fourth outfielder? Do you want to see Trey Turner be your outfielder? Leave it in the comments below. I will love to answer any questions that you guys might have. I'm gonna go on all platforms tomorrow, and I'm gonna take Q&As. I'll take a little Q&A also on the show here before we end the broadcast. We got a lot of time to do so. It's only 8:30. We always do an hour-long show for you guys. I try to make sure I put in enough coverage for you guys, so that way we have a lot to talk about within that full hour. Now remember too, if you guys are just coming into the broadcast, just coming in and seeing our show, we always go live at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is our new start time. The first time we were at like 1 o'clock. I apologize for the screen being bouncy. But I mean, 8 o'clock is our new time. We did go at 5 o'clock, but, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm still at work. So I want to be able to accommodate everybody in our shows. So that way you guys can call in. We're going to be doing the calls. We're going to be bringing back the calls during spring training. So we'll have that done for you guys in our show coming up really soon. But if you guys call in, guys can't call in right now. So we're really working on the system with that. We were having issues with our call-in system. You know, people trying to call in, they're like, oh, it was super busy. I was never able to get in. And so we're working on that. Also, just to let you guys know too, on our website, you guys could download every one of our shows from the website. So if you want to hear, or if you miss something, you guys can download them. If you are a member of our site, you can download each and every one of those. Or if you want, you can go to our platforms: Spotify, Iheart Radio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast. We go live on all of those platforms. And when we go live, all of our shows always get uploaded on those platforms, so you'll never miss a moment of our shows. So make sure that you guys do so. Weekends, we go live on the weekends at 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. So we normally go like 8 p.m. on Sunday. Everything is early morning on the weekends. So weekends, live broadcasting on Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. Monday to Friday, our show is at 8 p.m. Also at 12 p.m. too, so we do a 12 p.m. showing, which is lunchtime, and an 8 p.m. showing. It's only going to be me doing them, so you'll see me probably in other locations too, but we'll try not to go in other locations. But in the show. We want to thank SB Sports Athletics for sponsoring here in our show today. Everything that you see behind me is specially by SB Sports Athletics. So if you guys would like to purchase any of your New York Mets gear, you guys can do that by going to MetsXMFanZone.com/shop. All the gear that you see behind me is specially made by SB Sports Athletics. Their shirts feel amazing. They literally feel like an actual jersey, like you're wearing a jersey. Love them. And we will have them here. And they're also 50% off. So all jerseys are 50% off, all shirts are 50% off, and all Met hats are 50% off. It was funny. Somebody asked me yesterday, I love that gray Met hat that you have. Do you have it available? We don't have it available. We had those were we already had a few orders of the gray Met hats. But we are going to try to get those available again. So we'll speak with SB Sports Athletics to get us more of those. So we are working around the clock. Let's see if we could. Okay. We're gonna try to take some of your questions. If you guys have any questions for me, please feel free to comment in the comment section down below. And then I'm gonna do my progression of the lineup. You guys, my thoughts of each player, current players, all the guys that we have right now, and we'll go from there. Also, just to let you guys know, too, that I think it's next week. Do we have it here? Let me see if I have it here. Just to let you guys know, too, we're gonna be live down in spring training February 18th. I probably did already say it on the show. We're going to be in Port St. Lucie. We're going to have a whole show down there, a whole table section for us. But if you guys would like to come and meet and greet with me and talk Mets news, you guys can do that by going to MetsXMFanZone.com/spring training. When you go to the spring training section, you can see my schedule. And if you guys would like to have a reserve spot, you guys can reserve a spot to come down to Port St. Lucie. We're doing tickets down there for 50% off, and so that way you could be able to chat with me live on the show. All right, so now let's go ahead. Let's do the progressions. All right, so leading off, and batting first, Brandon Nimmo playing center field. Now, what do I expect to see him do in 2023? As of today, I would say Brandon Nimmo would go 274. As much as I love him, 274, I would say 21 home runs, because we know on how good he can hit. He can hit those home runs. I would go 21 home runs. We all know on how he is a really good RBI machine. So I would go 70, 80 RBIs with a whip of 280. And I would say I did say 274. At 274. Batting second and playing right field would be Sterling Marte. I can see him batting 292. RBIs, I would definitely go 80, 90. Now, he needs to stay healthy. If he stays healthy in 23, he's going to definitely hit a lot of home runs. So I would go 30 home runs for Sterling Marte. We know on how good he is offensively. We know on how good he is defensively. So I would say him batting second still. As much as I love Francisco Lindor to go and bat second, I don't want to put him there just yet. Or even Jeff McNeil batting second. I'm more confident in Sterling Marte being your second guy, then Francisco Lindor or Jeff McNeil. As much as I like those guys, Marte is perfect as your number two hitter. Then I would go shortstop, batting third, Francisco Lindor, 270, RBIs, maybe 110, 112, home runs, 25. I can see him do 25, 30 home runs. He does have great power. I think he's going to steal a little bit more this year. I think he's definitely going to do maybe 20 steals. Definitely over 100 RBIs. Home runs, 30. And plus, we want to see him, now that the ship is finally gone this year, I think he's going to be all right there defensively. Offensively, he's good. We know on how good he is. So he doesn't really strike out very often. But I think he's going to have a very decent season. Alonso, what can we say out of Alonso? Should have been MVP. Should have been that guy, but wasn't. But Pete Alonso batting maybe 271, 280 maybe. I would definitely go over 30 home runs for sure. Over 120 for sure. And how good is he? How good is he offensively and defensively, batting fourth, playing first base? He's great offensively. He has a lot to prove this year, I feel, because of all the guys that are around him now. So he is going to play like he always plays. I just don't think that Alonso has really... How can I put it? He doesn't need to be that it, because we know he can beat it. We know he could be that guy. We love him, and we love him for it. You know. I think this is now. Here's the downfall I feel with Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso strikes out too often, and we know this. But what Pete Alonso, I've noticed, if you ever watch video coverage of him, which I'm probably going to go into a whole live stream about him. One day, it's going to happen. I'm going to definitely do a whole hour of Pete Alonso and his coverage. Him batting, if you ever notice, he bats too close into the plate. So what's happening here was Alonso is overreaching that. And by him overreaching, he's striking out. So if he just backs up into the plate, backs up, moves out a little more from the plate, I think you're going to see a lot of home runs and a lot of looking at the ball instead of chasing the ball. That we're definitely going to see that he has to do that more. We know Eric Chavez can help him with that. Eric Chavez has been there. He knows he knows it. But I think he's going to have a very good season. Well qualified, great offensively, great defensively. He should be your MVP of this team. And he should be the guy. But there's so many guys around. There's so many guys around him too that just this whole lineup is good. Honestly good, because now you're batting fifth, playing second base is going to be Jeff McNeil, not the outfield. You don't need him out there unless you get Andrew McCutchen or potentially get Trey Turner. And those are guys that can come here. But batting six is going to be McKenna if the Mets don't do any more. But Jeff McNeil batting fifth, playing second base, going to probably give you 320, 380. Batting maybe over 100, well over 120 RBIs. A hit machine, just never misses. I think he beats himself up a little too much there at the plate when he misses and strikes out. I think he calmed down awfully a lot in 23. 22. I mean, in 22, he didn't really beat himself up so much the year prior to that. So I think he's going to have a good season. 320. Maybe 18, 19 home runs. Well over 120 RBIs. Definitely well worth it. And perfect for that fifth hole. Now 6. Like I said, left field, McKenna. That's if the Mets don't plan on getting maybe a Trey Turner or an Andrew McCutchen. Or even if you do, probably one of those guys is going to go into the DH spot. But McKenna going 260, 270. I would say 15 home runs, maybe a little less. 60 RBIs. Probably not going to see him as often. I think there's going to be guys platooning a lot out there. But obviously, right now, you're more than likely going to see Daniel Vogelbach batting 7th and DHing. Unless Andrew McCutchen or Trey Turner. And Daniel Vogelbach is probably going to give you, at best, maybe 10 home runs, maybe 58 RBIs, maybe bat 255. I'm not super confident in him. I just feel he needs to be more conditioned. Yeah, granted, he has a good bat when he could do something. I just think he didn't have it in the second half of the season. Coming here. I wasn't super high on him. A lot of people loved him. I really wasn't. And it has nothing to do about fat shaming. So let's not go there about fat shaming people. It's nothing to do with it. He wasn't conditioned. He wasn't ready. Let's face the facts here. He had a good first week as a Met. He had a couple of home runs, and then that was it. So the Mets decided, okay, let's go ahead and sign him a whole nother year. Give me a break. He's not your guy. And he's not gonna. And you'll probably more than likely get traded at trade deadline this year. Get value out of him if he's doing good. Trade him. And I do think, you know who I really honestly believe that could be a landing spot for Mets here? Everybody knows my guy, Mike Trout. He's going to be a landing spot. I would love to see that. Ohtani, maybe too. But, I just think that the Mets don't want to do so much in regards to signing. But that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day. But batting 8th, your third baseman, Eduardo Escobar. Now, Mets didn't end up keeping Carlos Carrera. See ya. Hey, I don't think anybody was really ever broken up about this anyway. As much as I love Cabrera, as much as I wanted Carrera, I was like, hey, I was so optimistic of the guy, and people shitted on this. This is a really bad deal, and and why the Mets were paying so much money. Well, guess what, fans? You got what you wished for. You didn't get him. Guy wasn't healthy. The guy was doing more than you guys think he was doing. Granted, he might have had that leg injury, but definitely did not have anything going for him. But I just think that it was just Mets' way. Mets got lucky and just didn't get him. Went back to the Minnesota Twins, 6 years, $200 million. Keep him. Thank you, Mets. Thank you, Steve Cohen, for not making that deal. Because you know what? If he really was going to make that deal, Escobar would have been gone and Brett Beatty would have been gone. Maybe Mark Canha would have been gone too. Deals that haven't been done are always the best deals. Like Jim Duquette always says, regrets. Regrets. And then, of course, you got patent number 9. I would definitely go with Francisco Alvarez. He's got a lot to prove. Oh, so good. I love him. I think he's going to be so good going into 23. You know, it was so funny listening to that, what he said the other day to a reporter. He turned around and said, I want to learn English. Quote unquote, I'm quoting him. I want to learn English. I want to be here. I want to be a Met. And I will be at spring training. Being so optimistic, being so of a guy that's so humble. That's why I like these players. I love players like that. Humble. Be humble. And I think it's going to go Mets' way. Not only Mets' way, but he's definitely a future catcher. But could he be like a Piazza? Let's back it up and say he could be. But you never know. But I think that Francisco Alvarez is going to be really good as a Met. And I'm putting it this way. I'm putting this in. Batting .250. 35 home runs. And I would do 120 RBIs. Think I'm giving him a little too high hope? But I'm optimistic. Always am. Always will. So let's hear what you guys have to say. So that is my lineup for the 22 season. Those are the stats I feel that the Mets are going to do. Hitting wise, they look great on paper. And even to say, you always got your pitching rotation, your back end rotation. Edwin Diaz, I feel, is going to have another good season too. And he's going to give you 35, maybe 38 saves. I don't know about the 56 he had when he was with the other team, but he's definitely going to have at least 35, 36 saves as a Met going in 23. He was the best closer by far in 22. 23. Prove it to us, baby. Prove to us that you are that closer, like a Billy Wagner, like a Mariano Rivera. Show it to us. Prove it to us. And bring that Jimmy trumpet home. Claim that and claim it. I am so psyched, so pumped. I think this team's going to be so good. And look at that pitching rotation too. How scary is that also? Seeing Justin Verlander going to be your number one guy. Big sign of I feel, in my honest opinion, in the offseason that the Mets have done so far. Verlander, 3 years, $86 million. Not bad, not horrible. But I think also too, was a big move for Mets also was the Japanese pitcher. I didn't think the Mets were doing that. I didn't. And when I heard it on the ground, when I was talking to guys on the phone, because I talk to guys on the phone every day about Mets news. You guys might not think so, but I do. I talk to all these guys, people that I know, that I speak with. What's the news? What's going on? What's happening? What are we hearing? What's the exciting news being on the ground? I hear them. And then I make my predictions. But I like what I'm seeing. For instance, Verlander, Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer is definitely going to have a good season. I don't think he's going to have a great season. I think he's going to have an okay season. I think he's going to be 12. I think he's going to go 12-12. Not batting. ERA of 2.30, maybe 2.20. Verlander's going to come right out of the gate blazing. Absolutely blazing. He's probably going to do 18-6. I would definitely go. Maybe batting once. Batting. Keep saying batting. ERA of 178. 158 maybe. The Japanese pitcher, I don't know about him. And I'm just contemplating on what I see out of him. I need to first see what he's going to do in spring training. Then I can make a claim. Because I don't know so much about him. I've heard of him. I don't know so much about him, but I think he can be a guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing. But if I was going to throw out a number now to it, I would definitely probably go 16 wins. It's maybe 16-8. 200. ERA of 200. I can see that. Dave Peterson or Quintana. I can see Quintana going 14-15. ERA of 250. Maybe a little less, 200. Carlos Carrera. I think, you know what? You guys are going to be like, what the WTF with Cookie. You guys are going to be like, okay, he's bouncing back. I think he's going to have a bounce back season. He was, I think, a little hurt last year. He wasn't 100%, but he was good. I will say that he was pretty decent. Not bad at all. I think he's going to go 16-8. With an ERA of 200. Mark my words on that. And of course, you're gonna see Tyler Miguel being popped in there somewhere. Dave Robinson, another guy. I mean, the Mets got really good weapons, and I'm pretty excited to see what to look forward to going into spring training. So that's my thoughts. Let's go ahead and open up the question board. Comment in the comment section down below and tell me what you guys liked on this podcast. We're going into 8:55. We got 5 minutes for questions. So I'm going to start with Instagram. Then after that, I'm going to start with Facebook. And then after that, we'll go to YouTube. And then we will close out the show. All right. So we got a few questions here. And we're going with Instagram. So the question is here. What's your opinion on Andrew McCutchen? What are you hearing in regards to him being signed with the New York Mets? So what I'm hearing on the ground with Andrew McCutchen, I mean, he can be a guy that right now the Mets are looking at two guys, Trey Turner and Andrew McCutchen. I know we're talking to a couple of people today on Andrew McCutchen. He could be a possible move that the Mets are going to take in. But the Mets are really want to get that big bat. I mean, I don't want to call him a has-been. He's not really a has-been, but, I mean, he's been around the league for quite a long time. Could he be that guy that the Mets are really want to bring in as your fourth outfielder? I would definitely would probably say no to that. I don't think that the Mets, I don't think it would be beneficial for him. We need a guy that's going to hit. He's been dipping quite a few years. If you want to bring in a guy, I would go with Trey Turner. So that's where I would go with that. But hearing news on the ground about Andrew McCutchen could very well likely be a Met. But as of right now, it's just a rumor. All right, let's take a question from Katie. She wants to know with New York Mets who made a lot of big moves in the offseason. Who's a guy that you want as a Met that either signed, so it's either signed or a free agent? I probably told you guys that during the show. My guy, I feel that the Mets should get, which is a really good hitter, Mike Trout. I would definitely do a Mike Trout sort of move, but I think the Mets would have to give up a lot to get him. So I would definitely go with Mike Trout, just because he has a really good bat, and I would actually DH him. I wouldn't even put him out in the field. I think it would be better coming off the bench. Okay, so let's take a question on Facebook. So we have here, it says Trey Turner is an overnight dream. There's no way the Phillies are trading him, and if they did, it would not be the Mets unless we given up McNeil and the farm. Well, I'll tell you this, Mike. I mean, they can make a trade for him. He's not a free agent, but the Mets would have to give up a lot. Yeah, but I don't see this package. I don't really see the package. Andrew McCutchen probably would be your more ideal, realistic sort of player, but I wouldn't go with Andrew McCutchen. I would go with more Trey Turner. And if the Mets needed to give up some farm for him, it's touch and go, because the Mets do have a good farm system. And I don't see the Mets giving up Ronnie Mauricio anytime soon. The Mets really want to keep their farm system intact. So that's my position on that. So we're going to take one more question, and then we will sign off tonight. If you guys have any questions, please comment in the comment section down below. And after this broadcast, and if you guys did miss this show, you guys can go on to Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Iheart Radio. And of course, you guys could go to YouTube if you guys miss a moment of our show. So let's go ahead. Let's take one more message, and we're going to Twitter. So somebody asked, what's your position on Francisco Alvarez? You think he's going to have a good season going into the 2020 season, knowing that he can be your potential catcher of the future? And they also want to know, should the Mets trade for him? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't trade for him, and I think him going into the 23 season, I want to see what he looks like first in spring training, on how good he's going to be. I could be looking at it as into another perspective here. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, I got high expectations in him to go with the 23 season, so he might lack just a touch. I mean, we know on how good he is with the bat. He needs to learn that catching role. And if the Mets are going to do something like that, I mean, let him learn the position, which he's going to learn it. He's going to be all right. I don't think he's a great catcher, but he has a good bat. That's why we like him, because we all know that he has a really good bat. I know. I've seen him. I've actually seen him in person. I've seen him play. So, I mean, he hits for power, for sure. He's got a good arm. He could throw guys out when you need him to do so. And now McCann's gone. So he is going to be your guy. So, looking forward to that. So, okay, we have to close out the show tonight. I want to thank you guys for watching here in the show. If you guys love our shows, please always tweet, like, and subscribe. We are finally giving you guys all your Mets coverage, 100%, all season long. And if you guys miss anything that you didn't hear tonight's show, you guys can go to the platforms up top from me: Spotify, Amazon Music, Iheart Radio, Apple Podcast. Of course, you could go to YouTube to see our shows. And, of course, you could go to our Facebook to see our shows, too. We go live on Instagram. And I don't think Instagram actually saves the videos, but you guys can go onto there as well. And plus, if you guys like the shows, hit the star button here on on Facebook, so that way you guys don't miss a moment of our broadcasting. And plus, on YouTube, hit the bell icon so that way you guys never miss a moment of our streams. So that way you'll get a push notification to your phone or to any device that you're using, so that way you don't miss our show. We want to thank you guys for watching here in the show. Please always tweet, like, and subscribe. Into our tomorrow's show, we are going to be doing a full 1 hour of our website. We're going to give you guys a rundown of the site, what the site looks like, what it looks like on all different devices. So that will be at the 12 o'clock hour. At the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow, we're going to talk the off season. We're going to talk spring training and whatever moves that the Mets make. I want to thank you guys for watching here on the show. Please always tweet, like, and subscribe. Hit the star notification. Hit the star so that way we can give you guys content on a daily basis. We want to thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys real soon in the next. Be safe, be well, and always, let's go Mets.